Okay, so Joe Joseph here, along with Melissa Dykes, and we're going over this video of the Code Conference in 2016 with Elon Musk. And what's really freaky about this, Mel, is the title. We are already cyborgs.
Great.
Yeah.
Sounds fun. Elon Musk says all this stuff all the time, and people want to discredit him and say he's just ridiculous, but you can't because he's Elon Musk. He's making rockets that are going into space. He's creating self-driving cars. He's creating little batteries that power your whole entire house. So I can't just go, but he's also a crank and everything he's saying is ridiculous. He obviously is working at a pretty high level. And so when he starts talking about stuff like what you just sent me with this, which I can't believe it, and yet it makes so much sense I have to. I can't just go, well, that Elon Musk, he's a nutter.
Well, he's a big transhumanist. So in this particular clip, Elon Musk is talking about something called neural lace. So let's have us a listen.
It's something that I think is going to be quite important, and there's not. I don't know of a company that's working on it seriously. Is a neural lace. So going back to the AI situation, this is quite an important debate. If you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot.
I'm going to stop it right there for a second because we're going to be left behind by a lot here very soon if we're not already. It's. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, not to mention, even when he starts, he says this is very important, but you can tell already that he's being very careful about what he's talking about. Like you can already tell. Yes, you can already tell the way he holds his hands and the way he's looking. It's kind of fidgety with the chair. I mean, it's almost, this topic makes him very nervous.
A lot of the comments talk, he's trying to dumb it down. So he's talking to these hosts that really don't know what they're talking about, or they don't know what he's talking about. And this guy's brilliant and everything. No, these are measured responses. He's being very careful about what he's saying. And that's what's important to gain here as you go forward is what does this really mean?
And so then we could be in, benign situation, but even the benign situation, if you have if you have ultra intelligent AI, we would be, so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, a pet, basically.
Cat, that's what I was
like
thinking.
A pet, like a cat. It'd be like a house cat. Yeah, it would be like the house cat.
Right.
Why do people think that's funny?
And that's not the end of the world,
That's a very good idea. A good question. I don't know why people would think that's funny. Ha 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 ha. We'd be house cats to robots.
We're gonna be like cats. Yay! And that's the benign situation. Oh goody! I don't know why that's funny. I guess I guess when people say that, they think they're joking. He's not joking.
He's not joking at all. No.
Well,
sort of pet.
I've seen the movie. It could be.
Yeah. It could be. Honestly, that'd be the benign scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And
so house cat is okay.
I mean, I don't love the idea of being a house cat.
Okay.
But that.
You wouldn't mind being a house cat? I think I would mind being a house cat, just personally. And if that's a benign situation, I wonder what a not benign situation would be.
But what's the solution?
Yeah. So I think I think it's to essentially. I think one of the solutions that seems maybe the best one, is to have an AI layer. If you think of like you've got your limbic system, your cortex, and then a digital layer, sort of a third layer above the cortex, that could work well and symbiotically with you. I mean, just as your cortex works symbiotically with your limbic system, your sort of a third digital layer could work symbiotically with the rest.
This is something that's surgically inserted or bred into the species, or what?
The fundamental limitation is input-output. So We already have, we're already a cyborg.
Yeah. So you've got your reptilian brain, your limbic, and your cortex. The reptilian brain is your survivability and reproduction. Your cortex is like the logic center. So your logic center is always trying to find a good reason to do something, you know? And then the limbic is your emotional response that says, I made a good decision. Oh, that feels so good. So if you've got the limbic and the cortex and they want to go ahead and put this digital layer over that, I wonder if that's not doing away with the survivability and the reproductive instinct.
I mean, that's
It's just
just one possibility. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking about this, like, for example, the Matrix movies. I mean, I know even back when I watched it and even today, I mean, there's a lot of things about that movie that ring true in the reality that we're in. And there are even Bank of America analysts now that are coming out saying there's a 50% chance we're literally in the Matrix and that all of reality is synthetic. But I know that even when I watched those movies and I got the undertones of how serious some of that stuff was, I still thought, wow, it'd be kind of cool to be able to plug your head in and then just learn how to speak French or something like that, right? But whenever I hear him talking about this and he's working with NASA and he's doing all this stuff with defense contracts, when I think about that kind of stuff, I can't help but think we're actually going to be in the SpongeBob movie and we're all going to be wearing the bucket helmets.
Oh yeah, and he'll get into how that actually kind of manifests itself in just a little bit. But you're absolutely right. You know, the road to hell is paved by good intentions. While it may be convenient to learn Spanish in 30 microseconds, there's a price to be paid for that. That's all I can say.
It's just that, I mean, you have a digital version of yourself or partial version of yourself online in the form of your emails and your social media and all the things that you do. And you have basically superpowers in that with your computer and your phone and the applications that are there. You have more power than the President of the United States had 20 years ago. Like you can answer any question, you can video conference with anyone
Right.
anywhere, you can send a message to millions of people instantly. You know, you just do incredible things. And but the constraint is input output. So we're I/O bound, particularly output bound. I mean, like your output level is so low. It's like particularly on a phone, like your two thumbs just sort of tapping away. This is ridiculously slow. Our input is much better because we have a high bandwidth visual interface to the brain. Like our eyes take in a lot of data. So there's many orders of magnitude difference between input and output. So mostly effectively merging in a symbiotic way with digital intelligence revolves around eliminating the I/O constraint. So it'd be some sort of direct cortical interface.
Because nothing bad is going to happen from having a direct interface like that. No one would ever hack your brain or anything, right?
Oh, no, absolutely not. That would never happen.
Yeah, because
Jeez.
there's no people out there that would take advantage of the situation. See, that's my problem. That's my problem. Is that okay? Input, output, all this kind of stuff. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, I got you. I'm tracking. But what kind of safety measures are being put in place? You know, and
None.
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing. He said benign, and he's saying that
Yeah.
very nicely. But if you go and read some of the writings of other people who have talked about this, they're not going to, if the AI is smart enough, it's not going to look at you like a cat. It's going to look at you like your bacteria. You will be less than a cat. You will not be even on the level of the way a human interacts with a pet cat. It's not even going to be like that. So when he says that's the benign scenario, what he really means is that's the completely made up fantasy scenario that people hope will happen. But that's not even where we're headed at all. And so what he's basically saying is instead, we got two options. We can either become bacteria or we can merge with the AI system and make ourselves necessary to it symbiotically. Those are our only good. So he's saying the future's coming. This is what's happening. You have two options. You can either put this thing in your brain, which establishes this direct interface.
If they even give you an option.
If they even give you an option. Well, and that's the other thing I guess we were probably going to get to, is if they even give you an option. But I mean, if you go back and look at every technology that we've ever had, it's been weaponized first and given to us second. And so the NSA was spying on telegrams back in the day. Mail, the CIA was spying on people's mail. They've been spying on our phones probably the whole time since we've ever had phones. Probably the entire time, really. But definitely since World War II, I'm pretty sure just everyone, blanket. I mean, the first thing they did when they launched a satellite, what did they do the very next year? Echelon. And they started spying on everyone. And this is what I'm saying. So all of these technologies go out. They come to us from the military-industrial complex. They come to us weaponized. We get them, and they're always used to spy on us. Why would something like this just be cool and fun? Like, all the people in the comments section think this is cool and fun. If you go look at the comments on this video. And but where are all the people going, wait a minute, whoa. We're having our emails spied on. We're having our cell phones spied on. We're having our computer spied on. All of these things about everything we do, tracked and traced all the time and spied on. Why wouldn't this be the next step in that? I mean, DARPA's the one that's working on stuff like this. Do we trust DARPA? Does DARPA just want to provide you with really cool brain interfaces because they like you so much and they're just such a friendly, happy tech company that wants to walk around shaking everyone's hand and giving them a lollipop? No. So
your government god, that's basically what it is, and that's what they're creating.
So when we're talking about the smart grid, you're saying not only is the internet, we're not only going to become part of the internet of things,
it's not like
but
just the
literally
it's going to become a whole new construct. It's
direct,
a construct within a construct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you called it a neural lace.
Neural lace.
Neural lace, just so everybody knows, is politically correct. Okay, that's the politically correct term. And you'll hear why.
That's the benign term.
Yes.
It's totally not Google Glass, right?
No, I'm talking about something
but it's like you wear it? Or
No.
Oh God, pause it.
Yeah.
Just can you pause it for a second?
Yeah.
What? Who are these people? They're like they. Not only do they not get it, but they don't even get what they don't get.
And he's like rolling his eyes, like, oh.
Do you wear?
Glass.
Is it like Google Glass? Do you wear it? I don't understand. We're gonna be like a cat. What is this? Anyway, go ahead.
No, I know it's
they're
crazy.
ridiculous. They're ridiculous. It's almost like they're trying to dumb it down more so that he won't actually say anything. It's
you remember Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters?
Yes.
And
first movie I ever saw in a theater.
Oh man, so at one point in time, Egon has like a salad or a strainer on the guy's head with all the wires on it.
Uh-huh.
And that's basically what I'm sure they're envisioning in their head. Yeah, do you wear it? No. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That and he's like his eyes are rolling back. Yeah, that's it. That's what we do. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, there are a few ways to approach this, but some sort of interface directly with your cortical neurons particularly.
But doesn't that imply surgical insertion?
Not necessarily. You could go through the veins and arteries because that provides a complete roadway to all of your neurons.
Yeah, well, let me start by saying that's one delivery system that they could use. Let's remember, folks, that there's been a delivery system that's been in use now for quite a few years now. Of course, I'm referring to chemtrails. And one of the things that people really don't realize is that when you breathe things in, especially through your nose, the only thing that separates your sinus cavity from your brain is the blood-brain barrier. The blood-brain barrier. So if you absorb or inhale these nanoparticulates into your nose, you're effectively absorbing them into the blood-brain barrier, and they will go and attach themselves to your neurons. So that's one. It's a delivery system.
So we're talking about nanodust.
Nanodust, yeah, basically, which is already out there,
and is a much easier way to distribute such a thing.
And everybody goes to work every day. Everybody goes about their lives every day. Meanwhile, spray, because you really don't have a choice. It's not like we can say, why, I don't consent, and they're just going to stop. That's not what happens,
It's never stopped them before.
Yeah, because it doesn't affect your normal life, your everyday life. You just go about your business, doing your thing you're going to do. Meanwhile, we are already cyborgs. Oh, really? Yeah. It's really crazy.
Your neurons are very heavy users of energy, so they need high blood flow. So you automatically, with your veins and arteries, have a road network to your neurons.
Still some kind of surgery, right?
Yes, but you could insert something, basically, into the jugular and have. It gets macabre, but
It sounds really easy and
it doesn't involve
risk-free.
it doesn't involve like chopping your skull off or anything like that.
That's good.
Yeah.
And plus, you're not a house cat anymore.
Yeah, and plus you're not a house cat anymore. So here's the thing, right? What if Morgellons disease was like the V1, the version 1 of this type of technology? Whereas if you do like some research into it, folks, and check out a video. It came out, I want to say like 2006 or so. It's called Silent Superbug, and it gets into what Morgellons really is. And of course, it's these little nano factories that use the resources of the body to grow a fiber optic network within the body. Oh. And then they develop sores that have these synthetic red and blue fibers that come out. And I say synthetic because a lot of the doctors out there that see Morgellons sufferers say it's all in their head. They're creating it. It's stress.
And that's what I remember. They didn't cover Morgellons very much back when that was a thing. In the mid-2000s, I remember there being a lot of articles about it, and in the late 90s. And
yeah,
when they did talk about it, they made it sound like it's all in your head. So it's actually very creepy. What you're saying here is a very creepy theory that makes a whole lot of sense, though, because they want to put these things all in people's heads.
And one of the best resource sites for Morgellons is the Carnicom Institute. Clifford Carnicom has done amazing research over the past 15, 20 years, all on his own. He's basically set up his own laboratory, and he does what he can to kind of bring to light what Morgellons is. He suffers from Morgellons. So what if that was kind of like laying the groundwork for this? And now they've got it to where they call it a neural lace, but really it's just one of these types of like a nano fiber optic network that latches onto neurons and then spreads out like a tentacle, like with tentacles, and attaches and attaches and attaches until you don't even know that you have this in your head. And another thing that he has plans on doing is launching like 400 satellites into space, right?
As part of the system that's going to run it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So
you know what you just said?
Yeah, go ahead. It's the bucket helmet.
Well, you mean like from SpongeBob? Yeah, it sounds like the bucket helmet. But you know what else actually?
What's that?
I watch a lot of these movies like The Giver and the Divergent series, not because I'm into, teen sci-fi novels or anything, but because I think they hide a lot of stuff in there pre-programming the younger generations. You can find that stuff all the time. And in the Divergent movies, mind control is a huge part of that movie series. They actually had a mind control device that they were putting onto people, and it would go inside your spinal column up into your brain, and it would do that exact thing. It would latch on and attach out. And so they couldn't remove it once it was on someone. They couldn't take it out. But people were killing themselves and doing all kinds of crazy stuff because they had these things in their brain. And it sounds exactly like what you just described. Only difference is that's a movie and this is real life.
Absolutely. And the thing to take away from this is they've already tested this on mice. So they know it works. It's just a matter of implementing it if they haven't already. Because why would he come out and say we are already cyborgs?
I mean, why would he even mention any of it all? I mean, you can tell throughout the entire talk that he's very, like you said, measured. He almost seems nervous at times. He's very, he's at least very, very careful in choosing his words talking about this. But, it also brings to mind the Davos thing earlier this year at the World Economic Forum for 2016 when they had that panel about what if your brain confesses. And one of the guys on the panel said, people have already shown they're willing to give up privacy for convenience, and our thumbs are too slow on these keypads. We're going to have something where we can use our brain directly to communicate with our phones.
And, personally, I think it's just a matter of time before there will be a portable brain decoding technology that decodes language as fast as you can type with your thumbs on your cell phone.
Wow.
And everyone will wear them because people have shown that they're quite willing to give up privacy for convenience. And then that, I think, brings up a lot of really interesting and scary ethical and
And
privacy
some
issues.
good ones.
If they are going to try and do it in a friendly way or something like that, it would be that way. It would be like, well, this is just the natural progression, you know. But they're talking like everyone's just going to accept it. And what's really weird is that you have all these people like, yes, can't wait. I can't wait. I want to be a cyborg. I'd love to hook into the machine. And it's almost as if they've not thought of any of the ramifications of that, who's going to be flipping the switches and levers. It calls to mind the Zuckerberg photo where he's walking through the crowd and everyone has the VR helmets on. And
Yeah.
it's like, there's our leader drifting by us while we're all oblivious, you know?
And that's the thing. You can be anything you can want to be. You don't have to suffer anymore. You don't have to go through struggles anymore. You just go ahead and live in your AI world where everything is going to be okay, where it's sunshine and unicorns. And the thing is that, you know, that's not the way it ends up being.
I think we should be very careful about artificial intelligence. If I were to guess at what our biggest existential threat is, it's probably that. I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Doesn't work out.
I take it there will be no HAL 9000 going up to Mars.
HAL 9000 would be easy. It's way more complex than, I mean, it would put HAL 9000 to shame. Yeah.
And that's not the way it's going to end up being. And I think that this plays also into your Agenda 21 type of depopulation scheme. If you can get people from doing human things and start to go AI and synthetic and everything else, well, now people aren't going to reproduce and you're going to start ending up having a rapid depopulation. Meanwhile, you know, the powers that shouldn't be, they're not going into this AI matrix. They're enjoying life in the real world, you know, while everybody else is plugged in. So that's at least my take on it, is that this has some extremely dire consequences. And so how do you stop it? How do you stop it? It's
Well, that's
the same.
a good question. And also, when did it start? Because
Yeah,
if they're out right now talking about something like this, usually by the time anything becomes publicly known, it's already been around for a really long time. So
I mean, this is something to seriously pay attention to. I'm sure we'll be we'll do a lot more on this because this is just cracking the surface.
there's so much more. I know there's always so much more, but man, what sucks the most is just that the world could be awesome. You can see where it could be, right? If it
Right.
wasn't being run by a small group of corrupt psychopaths, like it could actually be a pretty cool place. They've got all this stuff. They could use it for really good purposes. We wouldn't have to have a world with forced austerity and suffering, but no, instead it's going to be like this crazy, you know, SpongeBob bucket helmet control grid. I mean, if they're not sucking energy off of you as if you are in one of those pods in the Matrix, they might as well be, because that's about the level that they're going to dehumanize everyone to under something like this.